It was a clear spring morning when the young monk approached the ancient stone bridge spanning the flowing river. Stopping at the foot of the bridge, he gazed at the worn stone steps leading up to the crest. Beyond lay the misty mountains of enlightenment that he had spent years seeking. Just as the monk lifted his foot to step onto the bridge, the old master called out, "Where are you going, young one?" The monk turned and bowed respectfully. "I am crossing this bridge to reach the mountains so I may continue my search for truth," he replied. The master nodded slowly. "And what will you do when you get there?" "I will meditate and practice wisdom so that one day I may become enlightened," said the monk. "Enlightenment is not something you can search for or find by crossing a bridge," said the master. "It is already present within you, here and now." The monk looked puzzled. "Then what is the purpose of this bridge?" The master smiled faintly. "It is not the bridge that is important, but your intention in crossing it." The monk furrowed his brow, contemplating the master's words. "My intention in crossing is to leave behind worldly distractions and seek higher understanding," he said after a moment. "And what makes you think understanding can be found only on the other side?" "True wisdom comes from looking inward, not chasing outward appearances," countered the master gently. The monk felt frustration rising within. He had traveled so long and so far to reach this bridge. The mountains shimmered tantalizingly in the distance, beckoning him. "With all due respect, the monks in the mountain temple are renowned for their wisdom. I wish to learn from them," said the monk. The master shook his head. "Wisdom cannot be given, only discovered. The most learned teacher cannot bestow enlightenment on a closed mind." He gestured outward with his staff. "There are teachers all around you, the trees, the rocks, the flowing water." The monk sank slowly to the ground, doubt creeping into his thoughts. Perhaps the master was right. Had his long journey been in vain? What if what he sought was here all along, not across the bridge? The old master lowered himself stiffly down beside the monk. For a long while they sat in silence, watching the water flow under the bridge. Finally the master spoke. "Once there was a man who searched far and wide for the perfect peach. He believed only peaches from the eastern valley were sweet enough to satisfy him. So he journeyed to the valley, filled with anticipation. But with the first bite, he realized the peach was not as sweet as he imagined. It was just an ordinary peach. In his disappointment, he failed to appreciate its perfect ripeness, its delightful fragrance and texture. By expecting too much, he robbed himself of full enjoyment." The monk turned to the master. "So, seeking leads only to dissatisfaction and misses what is right before our eyes." The master nodded. "When the mind is busy seeking, it cannot appreciate the here and now. Be still and listen. The answers you search for are within." The monk closed his eyes and breathed deeply. Gradually, his impatience dissolved into calm acceptance. When he opened his eyes, it was as if he saw the world anew. The old stone bridge now seemed to the monk less like a passageway and more like a destination in itself. He became aware of the rough texture of its stones, the myriad shades of green reflected in the flowing water beneath. For the first time, he noticed the bridge's stillness and strength contrasted with the river's movement and fluidity. In the distance, the mountains were swathed in mist that danced and flowed like his once restless thoughts. But now his mind was clear, focused on the present rather than an imagined future. The monk turned to the master with a look of dawning realization. "I see now that enlightenment cannot be rushed or grasped. It emerges naturally from mindfully experiencing each moment. I do not need to seek it elsewhere." The master smiled. "Well done. You have crossed the bridge without taking a single step." The two rose slowly. Before departing, the monk bowed deeply to the master in gratitude. Although he had not reached the fabled mountains, the monk understood his journey was complete. The old stone bridge had guided him to the truth he sought, which was within him all along. This is Narrative Dreamscape. Thanks for watching.